Welcome to an aviation series video production. My name is Carl Valeri and I'll be your host today. I invite you to join me in learning about Bartow Airport in Central Florida and its significance during World War II. Recently I flew into Bartow Airport, but you can drive there, and I enjoyed the new terminal building, the restaurant, and also the aviation history displayed throughout the airport and also in a unique museum. Bartow Airport had humble beginnings. The original mayor in 1941 helps acquire the land for the airport. But soon after, we enter the war. In 1942, the U.S. government takes over the site and develops the land into a training base for the Army Air Corps. Originally, it was planned as a training station for medium bomber aircraft, such as the B-26 Marauders that operated from nearby MacDill Field in Tampa, and also Lakeland Army Airfield, or Drain Field, in Lakeland. Later, Bartow was renamed Bartow Army Air Base, and it was changed to a fighter replacement training station as of the 15th of February in 1943. The airport provided facilities for a fighter group and 2 fighter squadrons of P-51 Mustangs, a base headquarters, a guard squadron, and a sub-depot. But Bartow Airport was not without its tragedies. 2 hometown buddies flying separate airplanes collided over Lake Hancock during a practice bombing run. Both were lost and entombed in their P-51B aircraft at the bottom of the lake. Years later, aircraft parts were recovered. These recovered aircraft parts are now on display at the Airport Museum. The museum's exhibit is a constant reminder of the dangers brought by the war both on the battlefield and during training to become a soldier. The base was ordered to be deactivated on the 25th of October 1945, and the deactivation was completed and the base closed by the end of the year. The government, though, requires the airport must be used for airport purposes or be returned to the government, thus protecting Bartow. From 1945 to 1950, a fixed-base operator ran the airport. The large building complex constructed by the federal government is used for industry and also used for storage. In 1946, the barracks were converted into apartments for the returning veterans. But in 1950, the U.S. government, again exercising its reversal clause for the facility, takes over the airport. The Department of Defense called for bids for civilian contractors to man and operate a primary pilot training school for the U.S. Air Force student pilots. Garner Aviation wins the contract and begins training pilots. The contract then goes to Truman Miller, who runs the school until 1960. When Bartow Air Base was renamed, the installation served as a U.S. Air Force primary flight training facility for the Air Training Command from 1951 to 1960, during which time its pilot training group operates the T-6 Texan, the T-34 Mentor, the T-28 Trojan, training both commissioned U.S. Air Force officers and U.S. Air Force aviation cadets. More than 8,000 men graduated from primary flight training at Bartow Air Base before proceeding on to select Air Force bases for advanced training in aircraft such as the T-33 Shooting Star for jet pilots, or the TB-25 and the B-25 Mitchell for multi-engine pilots. The U.S. Air Force operations officially ended in 1961, and the facility was totally transferred to the city once again by the Government Services Organization. Notable graduates of primary flight training at Bartow Air Base included astronauts such as Colonel Buzz Aldrin, Lieutenant Colonel Edward White, as well as former Assistant Chief of Staff of the U.S. Air Force, Lieutenant General McInerney, and the first graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy to achieve 4-star general, General Johnson. The United States Air Force would return to primary flight training to civilian contractors for a short period during the 1990s, of which I was fortunate enough to have been a participant as an instructor to pilots a short distance from Bartow Field at Peter O. Knight Airport, where we trained pilots at MacDill Air Force Base next door. Later on, the large building area is converted into an industrial park with approval from the FAA. In 1967, the Bartow Municipal Airport Development Authority is named. The airport and industrial park have been self-supporting since its inception. Bartow Airport. From humble beginnings, blossoms an important general aviation airport. To read more about Bartow and other aviation heritage sites, please visit me at expertaviator.com. I hope you've enjoyed this short history of Bartow Air Base.